Howdy folks, I'm Wily White Clover, whimsically waving with whispering woodland weeds.
I'm Amber.
And here are more woodland weeds for us to whisper with, so let's get started on that. It's a conspiracy. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I the jerk for changing the locks after my parents gave my brother a key to my house without asking me? I'm a 29-year-old female, and I bought my house about a year and a half ago. It's a small 3-bedroom place, but I worked and saved for years for the deposit, so I'm very proud of it. My older brother Jake, a 33-year-old male, recently broke up with his girlfriend. They lived in her apartment, so he had to leave quickly. My parents asked if he could stay with me for a week or two, and I said no. That sounds harsh, but Jake has a history of moving in with family and never leaving. A few years ago, he stayed with our parents after losing his job. It was meant to be a 1-month thing, and it became almost 2 years. He paid no rent, he barely helped, and got angry when they asked about his plans. I work from home and use one bedroom as my office. Honestly, I just don't want to live with Jake. We get along better when we don't share a space. My parents kept asking, and I suggested that he stay with them. But Mom said their house was too stressful and Jake needed somewhere quiet. Last Friday, I came home from dinner and found Jake's car in my driveway. He was in my kitchen making food with suitcases in the hallway and boxes in my spare room. I asked how he got in, and he casually said that Mom gave him the emergency key that I had left with my parents. Apparently, they decided that once he was already inside, I would quote-unquote calm down and just let him stay. Jake said that he only needed a couple of weeks and accused me of being dramatic. Well, I told him to pack and leave. He refused at first, saying that he had nowhere to go that night, and I told him that he could stay with our parents, get a hotel, or call a friend, but he was not sleeping in my house after entering without permission. He called Mom, who said that I was humiliating him during a difficult breakup. She reminded me that I stayed with them for 4 months after being laid off during the pandemic. That is true, but I asked first, I paid them monthly, I bought groceries, and moved out as soon as I found another job. I also didn't let myself into their house and announced that I lived there. Jake eventually left, but called me selfish and said that I cared more about an empty room than whether he had somewhere safe to sleep. Well, the next morning, I had the exterior locks changed and did not give my parents another key. When Mom found out, she cried and said that I treated her like a criminal and destroyed her trust over one bad decision. Dad agrees they should not have given Jake the key, but thinks that changing the locks was unnecessary. Jake is now staying with my parents. They complain that he always stays awake at night, leaving dishes everywhere, and smokes in their garden after Dad asked him not to. My aunt says that I should let Jake stay because I have more space and accused me of being stubborn about my precious house. I don't feel guilty for making Jake leave, but I feel guilty about changing the locks without discussing it first. Mom had the key for over a year and never abused it before this. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, OP, you are not the jerk. It doesn't matter if your mom didn't abuse this before. She did this now, and this is a grave offense. Your parents were trying to bully you into taking your brother in. You had made it very clear you did not want him there, and they were using the whole, well, once he's there, OP can't move him. They did not want the problem of dealing with him and decided to make him your nightmare instead. You deserve better.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is kind of like the old foot in the door type of situation where they just were trying to get the foot in the door and thought that OP would be amenable once that happened. And I think that OP was right to stand their ground. They made their decision. They made it very clear about what they were comfortable with. And the parents kind of said, well, no, we're going to force you to live with your brother anyways. And that's not their decision. And I think that they did abuse OP's trust. And I don't think that OP needed to discuss changing the locks before they changed the locks. It's their house.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I understand, you know, a lot of people will say, well, you know, family should help family out and stuff like that. But it also seems like Jake has a history of abusing people's goodwill.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's not going to listen to the parents, then how much is he going to listen to OP? right?
Right. It's going to even less. And
Mm-hmm.
so why would OP set themselves up for that headache?
Yeah. So I understand where OP is coming from here. I think whether they want to live with their brother or not is their decision, and they've decided that they can't live with their brother. And I think that's also a reasonable boundary for OP to draw. And OP did point out, like, oh, well, I lived with my parents for a little while, but I did all these things that Jake didn't do, right? If
Mm-hmm.
Jake paid OP rent and, was clean after themselves and actually pulled their weight around the house, it sounds like OP wouldn't actually have a problem with Jake living there. But it seems like Jake has a lot of habits that don't jive well with OP and could cause the environment to be stressful for OP.
Yeah, well, and I mean, the parents and everyone else needs to stop enabling him with this bad behavior. If he can't be bothered to clean up after himself, then he can go live in his own filth somewhere else. You don't have to deal with that just because he's family. Like, he is making an active choice to be messy, to mess up your space, and to have no respect for your space.
And also, if OP did take him in and it was 2 weeks and 2 weeks went by and he still hadn't found anywhere, what are the odds that people are going to still guilt OP into
Mm-hmm.
letting him stay there? And I think that is something that's important to consider because, like OP mentioned, he has a habit of moving in with people and then not getting out. And maybe this is with the parents on his tail about this. He'll be more inclined to get out sooner because he doesn't feel like this is his space or it's a cramped space. And hopefully that'll incentivize him to get out. Whereas OP's house has a lot more space, it's a lot more comfortable of an environment, and it might be less incentive for him to move out sooner. So I think that OP is doing the right thing in their mind here, and I think the parents betrayed OP's trust. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, then our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Stopping Letting My Friends Have a Ride in My Car After My Girlfriend's Sister Drove It Too Recklessly? My girlfriend has a sister, we're all in the same friend group, and we are really into cars. We don't have expensive cars, just regular ones. We enjoy discussing anything related to this topic and sometimes let each other take them out for short drives. My car isn't new, but I saved up for it for a long time, and I take really good care of it. I've let friends drive it around the parking lot or around the block a couple of times before, usually while I sat right next to them. That was the norm in our group, and I didn't want to seem paranoid, though I didn't like the idea much. But before no incidents had occurred. Well, a week ago, we were out to a river. My girlfriend's sister asked to try out the car. I knew that she drove aggressively in her own, fast starts, hard braking, sharp turns, but I thought that she would be more careful in someone else's car. Plus, I was sitting right next to her. From the start, I asked her to be gentle while driving and mentioned that I don't like aggressive driving. Almost right away, I began to feel uncomfortable. She floored the gas, then late braked before a turn, took the turn faster than I liked, and laughed when I told her to slow down. She said that's how the car feels alive. Nothing happened, but it really freaked me out. If something goes wrong, it's my car, my insurance, and my bill. Well, when we got back, I told her that I wouldn't let anyone else drive my car anymore. Not just her, but no one at all, because I realized that this wasn't okay for me. She became enraged and said that I was portraying her as a reckless driver. My friend said that I was too safe and was turning the car group into a boring parking lot chat. Now, I think that maybe I should have said it in another way or done something else, but I don't want to let others test my patience and my property while I ask them to be careful. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, absolutely not the jerk. This is your vehicle and it is your right to stop letting it out at any point in time. The way the girlfriend's sister was behaving with your car is completely inappropriate. And so I understand your hesitation and not wanting to share this car with anyone. And while the other friends weren't the ones driving in this particular instance, it sounds like a lot of them have a similar kind of attitude, acting like they are owed this car and should be able to do what they want with it. And that's very concerning.
OP has made it very clear what they're comfortable with, and they've said that they aren't comfortable with other people driving their car. And they've made this realization after somebody who they thought that they could trust drove it around, and they realized that they couldn't trust them. And I understand where OP is coming from here. OP isn't turning the group into a boring parking lot chat, because that doesn't change how they discuss or talk about the cars or the vehicles, right? They can still talk about cars, they just don't have to drive OP's car. And I'm wondering if OP's is like a fancy sports car or something like that.
That's my guess.
Where everyone's like, oh, this is really great. We want to drive the fancy sports car. But now OP's like, you know what? I'm not really interested in having people drive my fancy sports car anymore, you know? So I think that OP is right to set this boundary. They don't have to let anyone else use their property. And if people don't like it, too bad. And if they complain enough, then maybe it's time to find a different group of people, of different car enthusiasts who will respect OP's wishes to not drive their car. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Ordering a Steak and Cheese Grinder? Others may call them subs, heroes, or hoagies, and returning it because it was soggy. I just went to the local grocery store and ordered a steak and cheese grinder with lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise, and a bit of chipotle sauce. The woman did not ask me if I want it toasted or not. Anytime that I order, I always get asked if I want it toasted or not. Well, when I got home, I ate half of it because I was so hungry, even though it was drenched with chipotle sauce. After putting the other half in the fridge for 30 minutes, I opened it again and it was absolutely gross and soggy and looks inedible. Also, I did not enjoy the bread because it was not toasted. Should the employee have asked me? I would assume that most customers would want the bread toasted. But is it my fault that I didn't say anything? I want to return it. It was $10 and it was the worst steak and cheese that I've ever had. So here I am asking the question. All right, folks, what do you think?
Yes, OP, you are a major jerk here. I mean, first of all, when you put subs in the refrigerator, yes, they're going to get soggy. Like, that's just a matter of you have sauces and vegetables and whatnot that have moisture in them, they leak into the bread. So first of all, you ate half the sandwich. Well, if half the sandwich was good enough to eat, you don't get to return it. Not that, like, returning it because it tastes bad is even a reason, but oh, we ate half the sub. And then put the other half in the refrigerator. I guess they've never had a sub before because then they're all shocked Pikachu face when it's soggy. Like, this just seems like such a bizarre thing.
I think that OP has some strange ideas about what is allowed to be returned or not in a store. They're welcome to walk up to the store and try to return this half-eaten sub, but I don't think the store is going to take one look at this and be like, no. They bought the sub. If they had a problem with the sub when they bought it, they should have said something in the moment. And if they wanted it toasted, they could have just said, hey, can you toast that for me, right? They didn't need to wait for the person to ask them about this, right? You know, because like subs take time to wrap up. All OP needed to do is like, oh, hey, before you finish wrapping that, can you please, put this in the toaster, right? Or, make sure that you say that you want it toasted up front. That way they'll know and have this expectation that this is going to be a toasted sandwich. As for the amount of chipotle sauce on it, you were standing right there, I would assume, while it was being made, and you have the ability to say, oh, that's a lot of chipotle sauce. Can you not put that much chipotle sauce on it, right? Or even just say, oh, I just want like a strip of chipotle, So I think that OP just kind of needs to start speaking up when they are in the food line and make sure that the person who is preparing their food understands what OP wants. I understand their frustration, about having a sandwich that is soggy, that may be feeling inedible, but that's not the sandwich shop's problem at this point in time. They needed to be more upfront and say something in the moment. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Will I be a jerk if I told my nephew his father is the reason it looks like I got him nothing for his birthday? I'm a 38-year-old female and my nephew turned 16 today. Months ago, I asked my brother, a 39-year-old male, if I could get my nephew concert tickets for his birthday. He approved and said yes. His mother only sees him once a month, and sometimes he doesn't even go. She doesn't have custody, so I didn't bother asking her. Well, I got tickets for a band my nephew likes after I got the approval. Since it was his first concert, I wanted it to be special and bought really good seats. Tickets cost $500. I got these tickets back during spring break. The concert was going to be in July. Anyways, about a month ago, my mom tells me that my nephew is going on vacation with his mother for 2 weeks during the time of the concert, and my brother approved him going away with her. He will be gone for 2 weeks with his mother, which has never happened before. I think that it's a good thing that he will spend time with his mom. But my brother approved me taking him to the concert before his mom even asked about taking him on vacation. The system will not let me resell the tickets. I didn't get the insurance because I didn't think that I would need it, and now I'm out $500 because I can't resell and I don't want to go to the concert. It's a band that my nephew likes, not me. Also, I'm not made of money, so I haven't been able to get my nephew anything else for his birthday. I simply can't afford it now. I always go all out for my nephew. When I see him today and only hand him a little bit of cash, I know he's going to be disappointed. Will I be the jerk if I told him about the concert situation? I don't want to get him upset, but I also want him to know that I do care about his birthday, but his dad messed me over on this. Edit to add, his mom is taking him out of the state with her new husband, so I can't give the tickets to them because they won't be in state to attend. Also, the reason that this hit ahead today is because I was told that he might need to go to summer school and won't be able to go with his mom, and I could take him to the concert. We found out 2 days ago he doesn't need to go to summer school. I will take that blessing. I never wanted that for him, and I haven't had a chance to talk to my brother about it since we found out that. All right, folks, what do you think?
No, I don't think OP would be the jerk. I mean, OP did everything right. They talked to the dad, made sure that this was going to work, and then the dad completely just disregarded OP's gift entirely.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the dad probably forgot, but that's something that you should have written down on a calendar or made note of, or, understood that to be like something that was going to be a big deal for their son. And I understand OP's frustration here because they really wanted this for their nephew. I think that the brother is the reason that this is happening here, right? He should have told the mom, oh, actually, I've already promised OP here that they could take the nephew to the, to the concert, right? And that would have been the whole conversation there. They would have been able to hopefully reschedule, but he should have talked to the mom about this if he knew that there were plans that were upcoming, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel bad for OP because this puts him in a really tough spot. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
What do you call a crab that replaces a batter?
Oh, what do I call a crab that replaces a batter? Well, I would call that probably a cooked crab, and they probably are an unwilling participant in this cooking fiasco.
A pinch hitter.
I figured something like that was coming, but I wanted to make it a cooking joke. And I have a special guest tea. I have the Zena's ultimate green tea today. I'm going to pronounce it like Xena, like the warrior princess. Zena's, and spelled Zenas. I've brought this one before, and it's just the ultimate gourmet green tea. And you may say, well, I haven't seen any jars like this in the grocery stores. That's because this is probably like 10-year-old tea at this point in time. I don't go through tea very quickly, but I have a lot of tea. Don't worry, folks. I've drank this one before, and I haven't died yet, so I'm probably going to be fine this time around, too. And folks, today is a very special day. It's Unwelcome Guest Day. So make sure to go find somebody who you don't want to live with you and have them move into your house without you knowing it.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea.
It's a great day. Celebrate it wisely. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy, terrific Tuesday, spelled T-W-O. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on returning soggy subs.
Subs get soggy when you refrigerate them. You can't return them.
Yes, sugs do get soggy when you put them in the fridge. But thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye!